What's up everybody, this is Master EN Gamer. Today I wanted to talk about a curious observation I've made recently when it comes to my Overwatch habits. And that's that over the past few months or so, I've almost exclusively been playing Deathmatch. Now, for some people that might not seem too strange, as I know a lot of people have very particular interests when it comes to which game modes they prefer playing. But for me personally, I think this change from predominantly playing quick play and even a bit of competitive to playing now almost exclusively deathmatch is emblematic not only of the state Overwatch is in currently as a game, but also how it's impacting veteran players like myself who are still interested in Overwatch as a game and franchise, but aren't getting what they need out of the game itself. Real quick first though, I would like to mention that if you're new to my channel, be sure to subscribe and hit up the bell icon to never miss out on any of my future Overwatch and Overwatch 2 news and content. But now, let's get into it. Now, Deathmatch is a game mode which, honestly, I've always partaken in to at least some extent over the years. It's pretty much the only arcade mode outside of limited time event game modes that I actually play with any consistency, but for the first 5 or so years of Overwatch's existence, my primary game mode of preference was always quick play. I've always felt like quick play, and of course the competitive alternative to it, were the core modes of Overwatch, and thus the most balanced part of the game itself, and the place where the most heroes were viable and there is the most potential for having fun with the game and getting the most out of it. Arcade modes to me have always felt like nice little spin-offs almost, where it's something fun you can do on the side to sort of mix up from that main core gameplay, but overall these side arcade modes weren't as well developed or thought out or balanced, and thus they were just a little fun thing to do when you weren't feeling like playing the main mode. And again, I understand that there are quite a few people who do exclusively play arcade and have for years at this point, but for me, quick play was always my go-to. That is, up until a few months ago, when I started to realize that more often than not, I was choosing to play deathmatch over playing quick play. Now, since making this observation, I've thought quite a bit about why exactly at this point I prefer deathmatch over quick play, and I've come to a few key points which factor into my new preference. First and foremost, it's an opportunity for me to play DPS heroes. I consider myself to be overall a tank main. By far, tanks are my most played heroes, and when playing quick play, it has always been my role of choice. And given the distribution of most players and how most people prefer to play DPS over tanks and supports, being a tank main has honestly worked out really well for me, given that I basically never have to deal with the insane queue time issues that DPS players face. However, at this point in Overwatch's life, even with my overall preference for tank heroes, I think I've hit a point where the tank heroes just aren't doing it for me anymore. I'll still always love playing Wrecking Ball on Lijiang Tower or any other tank hero on just about any other map, but it just feels a bit stifling to have this limited selection of only 8 heroes to choose from, and then playing those same heroes on these same combinations on these same maps over and over and over again for years at this point. So in that regard, I think it's only natural that I've started to shift towards looking to play other heroes in addition to them, and while I do play support heroes fairly frequently and have for the past several years, DPS heroes for me personally have always felt like this sort of untapped pool of playable characters. Sure, I played them quite a bit back in the early days of Overwatch before role queue, but for the past few years at this point, DPS has almost been this sort of like locked off category. I might get to play it on the rare occasion where I do decide to queue into quick play as a DPS hero, or if I'm playing with a group of friends where we can just easily sort of alternate between who's playing which roles, but in general, DPS heroes are just a group of heroes that I never really had much opportunity to explore and really delve into and try out my skills with. And even if you consider game modes like Open Queue, where you can just have 6 DPS heroes on a team, that never really felt like a satisfying way to play those heroes because, well, at this point, they're just not balanced to work on teams of 6 DPS. It required me to bank on 4 other heroes on my team to just happen to pick tanks and supports in order for me to get that proper DPS experience, but all of this isn't an issue when it comes to deathmatch. In deathmatch, I can just pick Doomfist or Reaper or McCree or even Mei and just enjoy playing them while relying on my own personal skills exclusively and just have a good time playing these heroes that I've gotten such little opportunity to play over the years. And on top of that, there's the added benefit that deathmatch queues are pretty quick. With only 8 players per match instead of 12, it's pretty easy to find a match, and of course I can just pick a DPS hero without having to worry about what my teammates are playing because there are no teammates. It's just a simpler way for me to be able to play heroes that, at the moment, I feel like I'd rather be playing. Now, all of this, I think, also ties in very closely with the second big point I came up with as for why I almost exclusively play deathmatch at this point, which is that the core game modes of quick play and competitive have just become so stale. I touched on this a bit in the previous point when I mentioned that playing the same tank heroes on the same maps and the same combinations over and over and over again for years has gotten tedious at this point. And yeah, I think that's basically it. Overwatch overall just changes so little from day to day, week to week, month to month at this point that it feels like I've done everything there is to do in terms of playing quick play. I've played every tank hero on every map. I've played every tank combination on every map, with every team combination on every map. And it's just the same thing over and over again. What's that? The map I'm queuing into is King's Row? Well, probably just play Reinhardt or Zarya. I know how to play them well on that map, so might as well go for it since that gives me the best chance of winning. What's that? Junkertown or Lijiang Tower? I guess I'll play Wrecking Ball since they're pretty effective there. There's almost this feeling of being pigeonholed into these specific niches where I've been playing the game for so long at this point that I just have this idea in my head of, oh, this is the hero you play on this map because I know how to utilize them there and I know they can be effective. Maybe I'll switch it up if the other team is running something that counters that composition, but in general, it's just the same matches over and over again. And while I'll admit that deathmatch as a game mode probably isn't exempt from this by any means whatsoever, the fact that I've spent such less time over the years playing deathmatch compared to quick play means there's more new experiences and new things for me to do in deathmatch. I can queue into any of the 4 dedicated deathmatch maps, or even the deathmatch versions of the other quick play maps, and just pick any hero I want. Do I want to play McCree today? Sure, I'll play McCree in deathmatch. I don't have to worry about the map having good high ground for him. I don't have to worry about a team who's going to work well with my selection of playing McCree. I can just pick McCree, play him, and if I'm good enough, then I'll beat the other players in that match. It just feels so nice having that freedom to pick whatever hero I want, whenever I want, regardless of the map and regardless of my teammates. And overall, I've just found that I have so much more fun in this scenario. If Blizzard was adding new heroes and standard game mode maps, then I'm sure I'd still have an interest in playing the standard game modes. Heck, even if they were just more active with rebalancing the game, as I touched on in one of my recent videos, where I think the absence of balance in the past several months has really made Overwatch feel stale for most veteran players, then yeah, I would probably be playing more quick play still at this point. But the standard quick play game modes have just become so stale and so tedious that honestly, I don't get very much enjoyment out of those modes at all. I will still hop into it every now and again from time to time just to mix things up, or if I'm playing with some of my friends, but overall, I just feel like everything in those modes has been done at this point. Deathmatch is almost the sort of last bastion of new experiences to have within Overwatch, which is why it's where I've ended up. But the last major point I'd like to touch on for why I've fallen out with quick play specifically actually has to do with Overwatch 2. We know that Overwatch 2 will be switching from a 6v6 format to a 5v5, and with only one tank hero per team and all these massive reworks they're giving several of the heroes, looking at what's going to be coming later down the line with Overwatch 2 and all those changes, and comparing it to what we have in-game now for Overwatch 1, kinda just discourages me from playing Overwatch 1. I've already done everything there is to do in the first Overwatch. I'm excited for what's coming in Overwatch 2. I know a lot of people are really skeptical about these big sweeping changes they're going to be making to the PvP in Overwatch 2, but personally, I'm all for it. Anything that'll change up the game and give us something new, something fresh, something we haven't experienced before is a good thing in my opinion. Overall, in the long run, maybe we'll end up deciding that the 5v5 format just isn't as fun as 6v6 ever was, but for the time being, I just want to play the 5v5. I want to try out these new changes, and I almost have this feeling of not wanting to continue playing, particularly the heroes who are going to be changed pretty significantly, like Orisa and Sigma, because I don't want to really get any more attached to these characters as they are now, knowing that they're going to be so different forever forward come Overwatch 2. I'd almost rather just wait for Overwatch 2 to come out at this point just so I can actually play the new stuff than to continue enjoying something that's going to essentially die once Overwatch 2 comes out. And sure, while these same hero changes are going to apply to heroes and deathmatch modes as well, it doesn't feel as significant because again, deathmatch is just a more individually focused game mode where you can just play what you want, do however well you can do, and just enjoy a nice little casual match. In closing though, I think the most interesting observation I've made about my change in Overwatch gameplay habits is the fact that despite becoming pretty exhausted of the core Overwatch game modes, I'm still in love with Overwatch as a game. Sure, maybe it's just like a deep psychological thing because I run an Overwatch YouTube channel and I feel compelled to continue playing the game, but I don't think that's it. I think at its core, I still love the Overwatch heroes, I love the Overwatch universe, and I love playing Overwatch, but I'm just so bored of playing the same Overwatch maps and game modes over and over again. And Deathmatch just happens to be a mode with unique maps and unique gameplay interactions that I haven't experienced as much as the standard quick play and competitive, which is why I still find entertainment in that mode specifically. Maybe if Overwatch 2, heaven forbid, ends up taking 5 more years to release or something crazy like that, which it won't, but, just hypothetically, then I would burn out of Deathmatch just as I've burnt out of quick play and competitive. But for the time being, I'm glad I have Deathmatch because I love playing it. It's a fun mode across the board, in my opinion. And honestly, if you feel like you're burning out of Overwatch and you just can't get that same excitement that you once had for playing on Ilios or Lijiang Tower or King's Row in competitive or quick play, then hey, try out Deathmatch. I love it. Maybe you'll love it too if you've never tried it before. And overall, thank you so much for watching. Definitely let me know your thoughts on all this in the comments down below. Have you experienced anything similar in terms of switching up the game modes you play in Overwatch as a way to continue enjoying the game? Or maybe you've just given up on Overwatch entirely and are playing completely other games because that's what you find entertaining at this point. Either way though, be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed this video and subscribe, follow me on Twitter, hit up that bell icon, and come join my Discord server to hang out and never miss any of my future Overwatch and Overwatch 2 news and content. Special thanks to my YouTube channel members who help make these videos possible, and if you'd like to join them to earn some cool rewards, then just hit that join button down below. Otherwise, this is Master Ian Gamer signing off, and until next time, have a great day.